Sorry, I didn't mean to attack you personally.
It's alright. We're recording now.
Oh.
I'm glad that I didn't get in. Okay, welcome back to episode 21. The third. If you were listening to this once a day, you were 3 weeks in, nearly a full month of it. You know, nearly a full month of podcasting. That's something. You know, podcast a day, 30, 31 or 32, or potentially 28 days if it's February, not in a leap year. You know, all kinds of stuff. So
potential.
we're going to talk about the new Nav album, the much anticipated Nav album. It was on my radar since the last one. That's a lie. It wasn't. I've never listened to Nav willingly, and I hated this album.
Hey, spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. So we're going to talk about Nav. I think we need to talk about Nav.
Yeah, definitely.
Then we're going to talk about Dokumien by Ibibio Sound Machine, 2019.
We've covered all the singles, so it's only right we do the album.
And I've been really looking forward to this. And it dropped last week, made me a very happy boy. Very happy boy indeed. Okay, then we're going to be talking about singles from Splash Brothers, Injury Reserve, and Tame Impala.
All
Patiently
groups.
celebrate the Tesla and Patience, respectively. Okay, so 2019, Bad Habits, Nav. I just want to say, I think listening to Nav is a bad habit.
Ooh, damn.
Mic drop. Okay.
Well, Nav, Toronto MC, signed to The Weeknd, label EXO, and came onto the scene when he did a terrible feature for Travis Scott on his album, Birds in the Trap Sing for McKnight. But I think he really blew up with an even worse feature on another Travis Scott song, Yosemite.
Where if you'll recall the meme, it was that you can't hear him. He's too far away from the mic.
They did eventually fix the mix and probably made it a bit worse because at least you didn't have the
because now you can hear
displeasure
him.
of hearing Nav. Now you could hear him and all the stupid things he was saying. This is his third album. His first album was solely produced by Metro Boomin, and it was actually fairly decent.
I'm surprised by that.
And it had Playboy Carti on one of the songs.
Wow.
Then his album last year, Reckless, was pretty dreadful. I only listened to it because it got negative reviews.
Yeah.
And it did actually land on my worst of the year list, I believe.
I mean, so he dropped an album last year, now he's dropped another album this year, and these albums are pretty long.
And he did drop an EP a week before this came out that I didn't listen to.
He's pretty prolific, but it's not good. So, I don't know.
No, I mean...
It's less so like he's a genius and he has to get these things out, and it's more like, let's make the money.
Yeah, he's no Lil B.
No. Lil B's just like what's the word? A savant. Isn't that it? I don't know, something like that.
He's a maverick.
There we go. He's a maverick. Okay, here's one thing. I mean, all the tracks on this, I don't think there's a single track with a bad like instrumental. Some of the beats are pretty dry, but they're all just kind of normal trap beats. None of them are especially good, but I don't think the behind the beat in the instrumental, what it starts off with, there's not a single bad one. They're all like fairly good. Some of them I actually like. I just hate it when it just gets into this trap beat, which kind of ruins it, and then Nav gets on it, and then that ruins it even more. Because I really hate his voice, I've found out. I couldn't even hear him on Yosemite. When everyone was talking about, the whole Yosemite meme where it was like, oh, he's too far away from the mic, you can't hear him. I actually had no idea, like, that was a thing. Just, I don't know, I couldn't hear him. Potentially I'm deaf and I'm an idiot, and that's why I couldn't hear him, but yeah, actually hearing him on this, and hearing how, just like, at times grating his voice is. It's not. I don't know. Grating isn't the best word potentially for that. It's more just a bit nasally and just annoying. And then the fact that whatever he's saying has zero substance, it just, I don't know. It makes you want to not
I
listen.
think what it is it's like a flat, nasally, auto-tuney seed that it plants in your head, and it slowly grows into a migraine.
It's a weed. It takes over.
As the album comes on, it eventually becomes more and more unbearable. Because when you first start listening, To the Grave, I actually quite liked.
I thought To My Grave wasn't that bad.
I think the hook was quite funny about killing the police. But, I mean, then I didn't really have anything of note until Tap, and the only thing of note was that Meek Mill's feature was decent. But it was so obviously phoned in because it was so short.
He was rapping about some funny stuff. There's a bunch of really weird lyrics on this. I mean, there's some funny lyrics from him. He's talking about putting his thumb in someone's wittra.
Pooper.
But yeah, you don't play with that, dude. But there's other lyrics on this where I think later there's one lyric on like the second last track I want to talk about. It's really funny, but then there was let me find it. He just raps out the weirdest things. He raps about the game being not this, like, without him the game is going to be ruined, and I'm taking chances. He has this kind of, I feel like he doesn't really know who he is. I think he thinks he's a lot better than he is. There's this kind of false like sense of grandiosity.
There's lots of times where he said, "Book venues should book me because I'll sell all my tickets."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's the case. Also, to go back to your lack of substance and sort of the thing I was saying about the voice getting worse.
Yeah.
There was this one line, I can't remember off the top of my head which song it was on, but he just said, haters getting mad as they should. That's a good indication that I'm doing good. And I think just the use of good twice, it really pissed me off.
And also rhyming good with should, or should with good.
It was just so basic. That's what really set me off when I'd had enough by that point.
There's some better rhyme later in. On like the last song on Know Me, he rhymes receipts. Like I got to keep my receipts with keeping my kids off the streets, something like that. My boys off the streets.
Damn, that's fire right there.
No, that is not fire. That is water.
That's fire.
No. I don't want to hear someone rapping about, I don't know. I mean, it'd be pretty cool if someone's actually rapping about being a dad, but like, it's not good. Okay.
If we go back to, do you have anything of note before Price on my head?
No, not really.
This was an interesting song for me because it had a Weekend feature. That was both good and terrible.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I feel like it's more than I mean, it is a feature, but he's not just like on it for a tiny bit. He's on it for like 2/3 of the track.
Now, he did actually executively produce this whole album, which I think is why instrumentally it's pretty good. And there were some decent names involved, like Wonder Girl, London on the Track, Tay Keith, etc.
Yeah.
But for me, I liked his hook at the start, but then when it went really high, it was just intolerable.
No, I found I actually kind of appreciated that just because The Weeknd has that range and he's really using it. I mean, I'll admit it doesn't sound all that good, but I just thought it was pretty cool. I was like,
I didn't even think it was him when I first heard it.
I mean, it's not as bad as who did we review recently? Who they did that entire song really high.
Oh, Gigs.
Yeah. No, it's not that bad, you know.
I certainly with the feature on that song, I'd compare them as being pretty terrible. And his verse was sort of lyrically on a par with Nav.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I really wasn't paying attention to
Um,
what he was saying because
no, but it sort of sticks out when it's just dross.
yeah. Just coming back to there is actually one thing I wanted to say about prior track. On the second track, I'm ready. Um, what you were saying about the instrumentals being pretty good, and well, in agreement, yeah, we both agreed on that. The piano at the start actually had this kind of good like melancholy feel to it. It reminded me of something that like just a bit Apex 20, which is a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of these instrumentals don't seem to be too similar to each other. Some of them are like that, and then others are just like completely different. Not in tone, but the in actual instruments used, some of them are piano, and then other times they're just like loads and loads and loads of synths. Um, yeah, it doesn't really feel like it's all that well glued together. I mean, everything seems to be in the same kind of vein, which is good. I appreciate that with the album, but there's nothing tying these songs together. And I just found myself getting bored halfway through them because they've already exhausted everything they have to do. They don't go anywhere, and there's nothing tying them together. It's just, yeah, a bit tired.
I was sort of feeling that way up until the track Tussin came on, because it actually had a really good Young Thug feature.
Okay.
Although as I sent the lyric to you when I first heard it, his little outro he does on the song. I mean, do you have any words?
I'm not
To
quite
someone
sure.
rapping,
To...
I used to want to fuck my auntie.
Oh yeah! Oh god.
I mean, what would make you think that
That's a
putting that in the
good.
song was okay? And then what would make Nav think putting it in the song was okay?
Yeah,
And
and
all
then
the
what would
other
make?
people involved were like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine. Just
yeah.
say literally whatever you want.
Every
How,
single person in who made this album thought that was good enough to keep in. That says something.
I mean, maybe Thug was like, you got to keep it in there. Obviously, you can't have my feature. I don't know, but
He's holding them to ransom.
you gotta. But you want to have a head. You want to have a highlight on your album.
Oh no.
This is the only way, my friends. But I mean, he did go a lot harder than he needed to. I think he was probably the only feature that didn't sort of be within themselves in some way or another. But then again,
I thought that
incest
this
bars.
one. Oh, nothing like him. I thought this one had a kind of instrumental. Like it had like the piano in it. It was actually like it was thoughtful and it worked really well as a sample. But I don't think it worked. Actually, no, I take it back. I just thought it worked well as a sample. Yeah, Tussim's one of the better tracks on this.
Mm-hmm.
Snap, Snap makes you want to snap my neck. Um, you liked it then? Okay. Um, it just, I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but what he's talking about, it just seems like he's standing on a soapbox. He's just talking about how other people in the rap game aren't who they say they are, and how he's so much better. But then he's talking about doing exactly the same things that they are. It's just pointless. Zero substance.
And then after that, we had the first of the two. So the first three features I thought were a standout for one reason or another.
Okay.
To be at least a nice bit of breaking up the monotony.
Of his
But then
voice.
we've got Gunner and
Oh,
Lil
actually, know
Durk.
what? I know what Gunner actually sounds like now. I I just don't recall being able to discern Gunner that much from other people in previous things that I've heard him on. But here,
Hmm.
I can actually know what he sounds like, and yeah, I didn't mind him that bad.
Oh, I thought him and Lil Durk on their respective tracks that they were on. It was a bit of a who's boring a contest. Just sort of how little can we do in 3 minutes?
Yeah, how small can we make our feature be?
I mean, I literally cannot remember how either of these tracks sound, and I listened to it this morning.
No, me neither. I listened to it a few hours ago.
And in between that, oh yeah, sorry.
No, nothing. Don't worry.
In between those songs, we had "Why You Crying, Mama," which is maybe the worst ode to anyone's
Oh, for
mum I've
God's
ever
sake,
heard.
yeah. Oh my God, if I'd be embarrassed if I was his mom. I feel bad for her. What the frick?
It
He
doesn't
comes out,
really have anything nice to say about his mum.
and also one of the lyrics in it is like, I guess he's bought a gift for his mom. He goes, "It ain't for my girl. It's for the one who birthed me." It's for the one who named me. Sorry, that was a bit too out there. That one that I was thinking of, but I just don't care. All right, I don't care. I don't know you, Nav. I don't care about if you. I mean, it's nice and all that you're looking after your mum. He does sound like. Here's the thing, actually. I think Nav is two people. Okay, you have this one Nav who's a nice guy. He cares for his mum, and on Vicodin, he talks about looking after this woman. He loves this woman. She goes through a lot, so he says that means she earns everything. She deserves everything he gives her. But then he talks about just sleeping around with tons and tons of people, and he's very arrogant, and I don't like him. So I want
Oh, there
more.
was also another really bad set of lyrics. I can't remember which song it was, but on the
Is
hook
it the
he kept
whole
on saying,
album?
"I
Huh.
only want to fuck girls that I already know."
Yeah, I heard that one.
Um,
That's
it's pretty awful. And I thought the ending beat wise was actually probably pretty strong. I thought Dior Runners
Yeah, it seemed like it got a second wind.
and Know Me had really good beats that I would
But
just hope were
Timepiece,
lent to someone else.
for me, Timepiece was this had this. I appreciated the more dreamy sound to it. The keys were really nice in that regard, but that's it. I really wasn't the biggest fan of Dior Runners, but I liked one of the lyrics was I wear brands I can't pronounce. I can um I can see that happening with people. Some of these brands
Mm.
have very difficult to pronounce names. That was all. And then someone does like a mouth explosion. Like I think after a bar or something, it goes like. Yeah, I just thought that was really dumb, and I don't know why that was left in.
And I also
Um,
thought that on Know Me, when he kept referring to himself as a brown boy, was really dumb as
he
well.
did that like 4 times following each one. Like there wasn't a break. You can't. He overused it so much because that's his whole thing. Like he's the first brown boy to get it popping, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
But I mean, okay, that's your like slogan. Don't use it 4 or 5 times in the same song. It just kills it. But before we go on to Know Me, because I think that was a terrible closer. I think Stuck With Me before it was a much better song and should have been the closer, really.
I
Um,
think people like Nav aren't really too bogged down on album flow and how to end with a
that's
bang.
why he shouldn't be allowed to make albums.
But I think
But
we've beaten the dead horse at this point.
wait, I just want
Oh,
to.
sorry.
Sorry, my overall favorite lyric on this is
Oh,
when he uh he raps about. So when he's rapping about keeping all his receipts, the line prior to that is got to do my taxes, got to keep all my receipts, and then something about keeping guys off the streets. I want to hear more MCs rapping about doing their taxes. Okay, I like
helping
that
out their
shit.
accountants.
Yeah, I like that. That's stupid, and I want to hear more of it. But I gave
So
it a 3, man. I really didn't
I
like
think you're being
this.
quite generous there.
Well, I thought I was being a bit. I don't know. I thought I was being harsh, to be honest. I was thinking to myself, "Oh, why should I give it a 4? I actually like some instrumentals." But it was that taxes bar, man. If he's talking about doing his taxes, that raises it.
I'm gonna give it a 2, although that lyric is still pretty nice.
No, the two
Overall,
is
I just feel that Nav could well be an
oh,
algorithm. of just
basic
basic SoundCloud music, just picking bland instrumentals, basic lyrics over and over again.
Yeah, the lyrics are really what brings it down. It's the whole thing that brings this album down is Nav. That's literally it. I had no problem with the instrumentals.
Yeah, he's the worst thing about every song.
He is the worst thing about every song. Yeah, as you just said, man. I can't deal with it.
And I can't believe that he on Tuesday, I think, released the deluxe version, which added on to the end of this. So the original, this album was what, 50 minutes. The full deluxe is an hour and 15 minutes of Nav.
No, I'm not listening to that.
Which no one wants. And I still think the most interesting thing was that the track listing had a little Uzi Vert feature that was crossed off because his label wouldn't let him release the single.
Okay.
Which, I mean, sucks. And free Uzi, but...
Yeah. Free Uzi and free Pop.
Yeah. But, I mean... Look,
let's go.
We've done this to death. It's terrible.
Let's go. Let's talk about something good. Okay? Let's talk about something
interesting.
Yeah.
Something stimulating.
Something with taste. Something made by people who actually want to do this, who want to make music.
Popcorn Mia.
By Ibibio Sound Machine is exactly that. Okay? So they dropped a bunch of the singles beforehand, and we got a taste for what was going to be there. We were able to discern that it's going to be a bit more Afrocentric, because they started off taking heavy influences from 70s West African funk and electronica, as on the bio it says that. But, and also with songs like The Talking Fish, it's just very plain to see. And so they've sort of gone back to their roots with this one, and there's heavy 80s influences, as well as what I'm so happy to see, songs just like The Talking Fish, but better. You know, there's some really, really, really good funky guitars, some walking bass lines in this project. Every single track is lively, and there are some really beautiful moments on it as well. Some of the tracks that they didn't release ahead of time are my favorite tracks from this, actually. I Will Run specifically is my favorite track on this album, but we'll get on to that. Let's start off by talking about the opener. I Need You to Be Sweet Sugar. I Need You to Be Sweet Like Sugar. My bad.
And I think there was an interesting theme that you don't see every day of just really long song titles on this album. There's quite a few.
Yeah. I know that you're thinking about me. Then there's another one.
She Works Very Hard.
She Worked Very Hard. Oh, actually, I think that's my favorite song. But yeah.
I Need You Sweet Like Sugar. Yeah. I got some very strong Fela Kuti vibes on this song.
Yes, the whole way through. There is some, Afrobeat is back, and it is dope. It's just straight up funky with this. The synth is a really lovely touch. There's psychedelic guitars. Pardon me. There's a great hook. There's new vocal harmonies now. I haven't heard her doing multiple layers of her own voice before and harmonizing them. I can't recall that being on previous albums.
No, I don't think it was.
It's here, and it's really, really nice. I've come to realize how good a voice she actually has on this project. It sets up the album very well, but I feel that Wanna Come Down is the real opener, in my opinion. That kind of has with the great, as soon as those horns come in, and there's that beat that's so funky. This entire album, I feel like it's made to be moved to, man. You can't not move to it. It takes control of your brain and works you. Yeah, it's so good. You can't not bob your head to any of the songs. It's so good. Yeah.
Another funky jam, which we already touched on.
Yep, and then another one.
Tell Me, the title track.
Lock Me In. Oh, It's really good in the album, and as we talked about it, there's
It is. I like "Wanna Come Down" and then "Tell Me" straight after.
yeah, I think that works really well. And then comes one of the new tracks. I know you're thinking about me. Which has this sort of more moody guitar. It's very cool sounding. The whole thing. There's
It's
an
a bit
EQ.
slower than we're used to, isn't it?
Definitely. It's a bit slower, and it conjures up images of this taking place in a desert at night or something like that. It's really cool, you know? It has this swinging beat. It's very smooth sounding, and I feel it's a welcome change of pace despite it being slower. There are pretty much three funky tracks, and this kind of brings it down a bit, you know? What do you think?
Very sexy. Her vocals were amazing on this song.
Mm-hmm. The first of many.
They sort of moved and sort of zigzagged a little bit.
Yeah.
It was, and the guitar was very nice as well. It's very sensual.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I Will Run is this very beautiful track in my opinion. It has this really tasty guitar lick, this kind of Afrocentric guitar lick. It's kind of summery sounding, and then comes it's like contrasted with that being very I guess it sounds sort of lo-fi in a way, if you know what I mean, Tom. With it being it's like on the sort of, it's not on the bridge pickups. It's like further away. Then and it's contrasted with this very deep, thick synth, which is almost like a wall of sound. And then there's some obscure electronic sounds over the top of it, and then come her vocals, which are just simply angelic, man. There's some really nice harmonies, some bongos, a cowbell, I think. It's a marriage of old and new.
They love a cowbell.
The thing that really annoys me is that it just fades out and it isn't as long as it should be. I feel that could be stretched out for another minute, and then it should end properly, in my opinion. It's a real jam. They shouldn't have just killed it so soon. That's the only thing that annoys me, man.
I just thought it was a bit weird. I mean, it was a decent transition, but it was really short, as you said.
Yeah. It felt rushed.
And I think instrumentally, it's not really. It sort of builds up to something and then just cuts out.
Doesn't do anything. Exactly. It needs to go somewhere else, or at least keep that jam going, because I was digging it, man. But
just go forward.
Yeah,
we should just go forward.
Kai ISO. It furthers this marriage with the instrumentation, and then the electronica, which is their kind of modus operandi. There's these horns that are in this track, man. They're so good. They make you want to fight. You know, they sound like they're just from some kind of a kung fu movie, and people are just gonna start kicking each other any minute. You know what I want, actually? I want a Ibibio sound machine to work with Wakaliwood films for the soundtrack to the next film. Maybe those horns could do something, man, in a fight scene. I'm telling you.
But Ibibio sound machine are Nigerian, so they'd never do it.
Oh, actually, coming on to that, I was looking on their bio on Spotify, and Eno Williams, I think is the vocalist name. Her mother was from Nigeria, and she speaks Ibibio. So I think that's where part of the name comes from. Yeah, and I guess
isn't that the dialect she sings in a lot of the time?
Yeah, I think that's the dialect. So
I really love the sort of chant style vocals on this song, especially on the chorus. It's obviously it wasn't like a chant because it was sung well, but
the one thing I have a problem with this track though, in that I feel like it's just begging for it to break down and go somewhere else. It constantly feels like it's ready to do that. I mean, it goes into the chorus well, but I was waiting for there to be that change where it just feels like it's constantly waiting to do that. That's all.
No, I didn't really have a
But the
problem
solo
with
in
it.
it is very welcome. It's not bad. I was just hope I had a different idea of where it was going to go than it actually did go. You know. Um, then comes my favorite song. I think She Worked Very Hard, which is this really really cool driving synth, which it reminds me. Every time I've heard it, I've thought I was listening to Pursuit by Gazafelstein, but like a different version of it. It's tricked me every time, man. It's very similar to that. Then it breaks down, you know. We get a breakdown into this very very funky bass line and kind of cute percussion with these. It sounds like sticks. You know when you're a kid and you're in music lessons and you hit those like sticks together.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds just like those.
I just
There's
can't
play.
get over how good the bass line is on this song.
Yeah, it turns out to be a walking bass line. Like further in, it's pretty damn good, man. It's yeah, it's impossible not to move to this track, man. The synth comes back for the chorus, and there's just even more funky guitar. There's guitar solos, horns, and it all comes together really nicely at the end. And I love the lyrics. I love what she's talking about. Like she's working very hard for the money, but she's kind of saying like don't do it. Like live a bit more. And man, this song makes me want to live, man. Gives me life. It's dope.
I was even more of a fan though of the next song, Niak Mian. I
Ooh,
hope that's pronounced correctly.
do
Uh,
do try and change my mind on this, man.
well, I just thought it had the most bizarre and outlandish instruments, and that the synths sounded absolutely nothing like anything else on the album, which I liked.
Give you that, yeah. It kind of threw me off though. In my
It had a great groove as well, and if you don't love the trumpets on this track, you're not human. I don't think.
no.
When
Also,
they come in, they're so epic, they're so attention grabbing, and that's why this is my favorite song.
yeah, and then it has this really really lovely summery feel to it the whole way through with the guitars and
Absolutely.
horns, as you said. It's so nice, and then her singing over the top is very delicate, and she's also doing these kind of animal calls over it. It's great fun. It's definitely one of the best tracks on this, man. Yeah. Um, then comes Kuka, this like really psychedelic track with this swirling synth going around, around and around, and African drums. Then I feel her vocals on this are especially seductive. It's a more stripped down track to begin with, but then it kind of brings in the synth subtly. There's it ends up becoming this kind of delicious cocktail of sounds, to be honest. Guitars running over the top, this dreamy melody, and an Afrocentric guitar solo. It's very cool. Very
This is
cool.
probably the only song that I didn't like.
Okay.
I just thought it was really bland.
Oh, I kind of liked how stripped down it was, to be honest, and I liked how it layered itself. I mean, I see how you can think it's more bland, but they're not. You're not being as not blasé, but like just bam, we're here and we're getting it on. It's more like I'm gonna get into this thing slowly.
It's not It's not instrumentally dense, and I didn't think her vocals did much for it either.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and I wasn't a huge fan of Guess We Found a Way either, although the
Oh,
guitar was nice.
I loved Guess We Found a Way. I loved it. It's so chilled out. It's really smooth. It's got another sunny soundscape. There's these nice drums. It's like the drummer has very good control over it, stuttering the beat at times effectively. The vocals kind of float with the strings, which are brought in midway through, and it has this very nice psychedelic guitar kind of flowing over the whole thing, and it feels like a very pleasant dream. It's not the best track on there, and I don't know. I kind of wished it went somewhere, but it's kind of like you're meandering down a stream pleasantly in a summer day. It's really nice. Yeah. I liked it, and it's this kind of stuff which I didn't think was going to be on here because of the singles which are dropped. made me very happy when I actually found them. You know. But I feel like this is the real closer because it kind of.
I was gonna say, I think you're gonna have a problem with Basquiat being the final song,
Well,
just
Basket
because it was
feels.
the first single.
It
If
feels like
nothing else.
it's. It feels like it's like an epilogue afterwards. I think it's like I've no problem with it. With it being where it is. I feel like the album ends with "Guess We Found a Way," sort of, and then there's this epilogue track, Basquiat, which it flows very nicely into it with "Guess We Found a Way" kind of coming to a close, very down, and fading out, and then Basquiat comes in really, really nicely, and it's the one last banger. It's great Afro beat. It's excellent playing on the piano. At the start, in my opinion, it's very playful. But when the horns come in, I can hear them now, man. This bangs. It's Afro funk. It's beautiful. It's like really, really good, and I think it works really well to actually end the album. You end it on one last high note.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Thoughts?
I didn't see why this was here. I think earlier would have made more sense.
I agree with that, but also
Especially because we had songs like this earlier, and then it went to the
no,
more
what I
mellow
mean,
phase, and then
yeah,
suddenly we've got the groovy funk track at the end. It didn't really
no,
make a lot of sense.
I'm telling you,
But
man,
I still like it as a song.
it's an epilogue and it's like an encore. The album's ended, and then you're like, what the frick? I want one more track, and they come back with Basquiat, and they serve it. It's great. I'm gonna give it like between an 8 and a 9. Not quite sure where. It's close, yeah, but between there. It's better than an 8, not quite a 9. It's in there. I'm very happy with it. Very happy with the album.
Mine's a wholesome 7.
Oh, nothing wrong with a wholesome 7. Wholesome 7's good. It's wholesome. No problem.
Indeedy. Nice jams. Can't beat it.
Can't beat it, man. Now let's go on to the singles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Splash Brothers Patiently. Now, you very much want to talk about this, so I'll let you.
Well,
take
I thought it had a very nice vibe to it.
Yes, it did. It did.
And so Splash Brothers, for those like myself who'd not heard of this, it was I'd say super group in quotation marks. I'd only heard of one of the members, Alan Kingdom, before this, but he was probably the worst performer on the song. But anyway, I liked how soft the hook was, and then all the rap verses were
pretty hard.
So they had a lot more energy, but they were also not like crazy. So it fitted the whole vibe of the song. I really liked the bridge with the really high voiced guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice way to bring it home.
There were some very unique characters on this. Like you can tell it's a group. I mean, it's a group of people, but no one sounds the same at all. I love it when big groups have distinct characters. And,
like Wu-Tang.
It's very cool to hear. Exactly, and also like Brockhampton as well.
Yes.
Then so one I really want to bring attention to the instrumental here, like the chord progression. I just thought it was so cool, man. How it follows. They're all going up, like it's following a normal chord progression. Then there's a fourth chord in it. It's kind of chopped and screwed. And it's way like a fair few octaves down, and it's almost bassy and it's kind of ominous sounding. Very, very original, and I really liked it. And
this is gonna kill it in the summer, I think.
Oh yeah, man. And like that chorus where the guy's kind of mumbling, he's countered by this more soulful singing. In this kind of call and response thing.
Yeah, doing the sort of ad libs for him.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. When I listened to it, like when you told me to, and I was like, "Frick yeah, man!"
Nice.
Yeah, I'm patiently awaiting more songs.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna talk about Injury Reserve, Jailbreak the Tesla. That's made some waves. This track, I've seen it getting a bunch of hits on YouTube.
Well, the video is pretty mental.
Yeah, and it's got a great name as well.
Oh yeah,
Break the
and
Tesla.
it is reference. It's not just called that for no reason.
No, exactly. It's
The Amine one was probably the best though for me. Just the way he goes, your car goes, and then there's like a car engine noise, and then mine goes, and
yeah,
then there's just a bit of nothing because you're driving a
yeah.
Tesla, and obviously it's electric.
That is genius. That is genius. I just thought that was some really cool production, but now I know why it did that. That's really cool. It had this.
I thought the beat was pretty insane.
Yeah, exactly. This really weird mix of sounds with a melody.
Like plucky, I don't know, chords.
Yeah, and then the bass is just so thick. You know, man, it's full sounding.
And it does almost sound a bit like a car or a police siren.
And even later in, there's I got that siren, man. And there's percussion of cymbals, but then also I swear there's a tire screech in the as instrumentation. Or am I high?
I definitely heard some.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, man. So cool.
Amine has such a long verse to sort of close it out, and he just kept on going, and I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, man. It's really cool.
I enjoyed the hook as well.
Yeah.
With all the bass. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cacophonous. It's pretty intense. You know? It's dope. Very cool. Okay. And now we're going to talk about Tame Impala, Patience.
We got Patiently and Patience.
Exactly. It's a bit of a theme about patience, which it's a virtue. It can only be a good thing, man. It's straight in with this kind of with this piano, which I find it sounds like it's straight out of the 70s, man. This whole track, I mean, Tame Impala's kind of his whole thing is just like a love letter to that 70s psychedelic, 60s, 70s psychedelic rock, and I like his stuff a lot. I'm a big fan of Lonerism, and this is pretty damn cool, man. It mixes those more traditional psychedelic elements with the synth from his last album, sort of, and it gets you like moving your head. It's very nice. I love how it ends. It's very psychedelic. The only thing I feel it might be a bit too long. Yeah, I think it's probably half a minute to a minute too long. But
I think it has a great groove.
Exactly.
Like you said, it makes you move your head. My issue is twofold.
Okay.
I love the instrumental. I think, like this, I was interested in this because of what he did with Travis Scott and in a few other places.
Okay.
Recently, they've been featured, and so I thought, hey, I'll check it out. And the funky groove was great, but like you said, a bit too long, and the vocals were just so weak and lifeless.
Oh, I beg to differ, man. I thought they were so they were really nicely flowed on the piano, and they're really psychedelic. They sounded just like they used to sound on Lonerism. That's what it reminded me of. It was just like his older stuff. I really liked it.
I think they kind of killed my liking of it a little bit.
That's fair enough, man. That is fair enough. A point of contention is no downside.
But it's what we'll have to end on this week.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Talked about a great album and a terrible album, and then some just great singles. It's been a good week. I enjoyed this week. Have you enjoyed this week, Tom?
It's been an adventure, hasn't it?
It's been a real adventure. I hope that you've enjoyed this week as well, listener, and we look forward to talking to you very soon next week. Okay, I've been Tim,
I've been Tom.
and you listen to the TimTom podcast. In case you forgot, hey, we out of here.